Hello everyone and welcome to your flow class. My name is Kacey and I have the lovely Shana here to demonstrate today. So our practice today will be focused on tippy toes to flow. So we will be working on some options or variations where you'll be able to work into your ankle strength and stability, lifting the heels up. So please take the variation if it feels good. Wobbles are welcome. But of course, if you'd rather keep heels down, that's okay too. So we will start in extended child's pose. So coming onto your knees with your knees wide and big toes touching behind you. Extend your arms out in front of you and bring your forehead down onto the mat. With your eyes closed, start to deepen your breath. As you settle into your child's pose, allow your knees to be wide as you gently open up through the inner thighs and allow your hips to sink down towards your heels. Soften through your elbows, your fingertips, so that you're coming into the passive variation of this pose. Allow your forehead to be heavy on the earth. Might feel nice to have a bit of a roll of your head from side to side as you gently massage into the space in between your eyebrows, which is your third eye chakra. Just take a moment here to tune in with your breath and to see how your body's feeling. Where are you holding on to tension? Can you deepen your breath cycle? Never any judgment, just always a beautiful opportunity to just pause and to check in. Take one more deep breath here. And then at the end of your exhale, start to walk your hands back towards your knees. So you're coming into a kneeling position. Bring your knees together, big toes to touch. Now bring your hands down onto the ground in front of you, tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels. Now this might mean that you need to keep your hands on the ground, but if it's possible, try to bring your hands on top of your thighs and close your eyes for a few moments. Now you may have experienced this pose in your yin classes, so prayer pose or Seiza. Now the beauty of this pose is that we have 6 lower body meridians, energy channels that start or end in our feet. So even though this pose might be physically uncomfortable, try to find a position where you can pause for a few moments, open out through the bottom of the feet, and take a few breaths. Eyes can be open or closed. Now remember, you can always have the hands on the ground if you need to. Take 3 more breaths here. And at the end of your 3rd breath, bring your hands down onto the ground, either side of your thighs, and start to lift your knees as you come back into a deep squat with your heels lifted. And start to lift up through the crown of your head. Can you be really light through your fingertips? Maybe even bring your hands to heart center to balance. Now this will be much easier if your eyes are now open and you're finding one place to focus your gaze, so your drishti. Keep lifting up through the crown of the head. Take one more breath. And bring your hands back down onto the ground. Bring your knees back down too. Pausing in your prayer pose. If you need a break at any stage, of course, you can always come forward onto your knees, point your toes and bring the tops of your feet to the ground. Now we're going to come into that deep squat one more time. You have the option of either bringing your hands down onto the ground, either side of your thighs, or leave your hands at heart center. Start to lean back slightly, lift your knees and come back into your balance. So either using your hands or not using your hands. If you're bringing your hands to heart center, keep lifting up through the crown of your head. Now from here, we're going to come up into standing, but you come all the way to standing without dropping your heels. So slowly lifting up, bringing your hands towards the sky, coming up onto your tippy toes, extending up, and then heels down, hands to heart center. Pause there, eyes closed. Grounding down through the soles of your feet and lifting up through the crown of your head. It's natural to have a little rock from side to side or back to front, but can you really minimize that by grounding down through the feet, lifting up through the crown of your head? With your next inhale, lift your fingertips towards the sky, reach up, palms touch, come up onto your tippy toes. Then can you fold forward, swan dive, keeping the heels lifted. Now drop the heels as your hands reach the ground. Inhale to lift and lengthen, hands to the shins or they stay on the ground. Exhale, fold forward. Toe heel your feet out to hip distance and hang in ragdoll for a few moments here. Enjoy the space appearing along your spine. Any issues with your lower back, hamstrings, please just keep your knees bent. One more deep breath here. With your exhale, bring your hands back to the ground. Toe heel the feet in together to touch. Then you're going to lift all the way to standing. Can you come up onto your tippy toes as your palms touch overhead? Heels down as your hands come to heart center. Beautiful. Let's move through that sequence very slowly. Inhale, hands to the sky, tippy toes. Keep the heels lifted. Fold forward, bend the knees as much as you need to. Heels down, hands down. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, come all the way to standing, lifting the hands, lifting the heels. Hands to heart center, heels down. Beautiful. Inhale, hands to the sky, lift your heels. Fold forward with the heels lifted. Heels down, hands down. Lift and lengthen with your inhale. Exhale to fold. Inhale to come to standing. Lift the heels as your palms touch. Heels down, hands to heart center. One more round. Inhale, hands to the sky as you lift your heels. Keep them lifted as you fold forward. Heels down as the hands reach. Lift and lengthen, shoulders back. Fold forward, let it go. Inhale, come all the way to stand, palms touch, lift the heels. Hands to heart center. Beautiful. Next, inhale, hands to the sky, lift your heels. Fold forward, heels down as hands reach. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold forward, walk your hands out to downward facing dog. Feel free to walk your dog out here. So we're going to be coming up onto our toes quite a lot. So it'll be really nice in your down dogs to stretch out through your calf muscles and your Achilles. So I've already done a little bit of work into our ankles and our calves. So this is your chance to stretch them out. Finding mobility to combine with your stability. Then your next inhale, come into high plank. Shift your shoulders past your wrists and bring your knees down onto the ground. Elbows graze the rib cage, lower all the way down, and then inhale into your baby cobra. Use your back strength to lift your chest off the ground. Keep your feet on the ground. Chin to the ground, come back through your knees, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Come up onto the balls of your feet as you bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, come all the way to stand, palms touch, lift your heels, and bring your hands to heart center as your heels come back down. Beautiful. Taking a moment here at the top of the mat. Now we'll flow through sun salutation A with the option to come up onto your tippy toes. So as you inhale, hands to the sky, come onto your tippy toes. Keep the heels lifted, fold forward, heels down as the hands reach. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, step or float the feet back. Knees on or off the ground, elbows graze the rib cage. Inhale, upward facing dog if you're ready, otherwise cobra, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Now come up onto the balls of the feet, bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale to stand and tippy toes as the palms reach overhead. Heels down, hands to heart center. Beautiful. Let's flow through that sequence one more time. Inhale, hands to the sky as your heels lift. Keep them lifted as you fold forward. Heels down, hands down. Lift and lengthen, inhale. Step or float the feet back. Shift the weight into your tippy toes. Bend the elbows. Back bend of choice as you inhale. We meet back in downward facing dog. Now come up onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale to stand, tap tippy toes, palms reach overhead. Heels down, hands to heart center. Take a moment. Now making sure the knuckles of your big toes are touching. Your next inhale will bring you to your Utkatasana, your powerful chair pose. So you're sitting back into your imaginary chair. Shift the weight into your heels to start with. So you're creating that lightning bolt shape with your body. Now you have the option of coming up onto your tippy toes. Keep your drishti, your focus on one point. Lower your hips slightly. Bring your heels up a little higher. Holding together for 3, for 2, 1. Fold forward, let it go. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, step or float the feet back. Optional vinyasa flow, knees on or off the ground. Remembering that you can always rest in down dog or child's pose. You don't need to do all of the flows. On your next inhale, your right leg's coming towards the sky. Then bring your right knee to your nose as you hug it in tight. Push back into three-legged dog. Right knee in between the hands, runner's lunge. So adjust the front foot if you need to. Now bring your back knee down onto the ground and just spend a moment here opening out around the pelvis. Maybe there's a little bit of movement or stillness, trying to find softness through your hip flexor. Now you have the option of keeping the back knee down or lifting it back up. You have the option of keeping your right heel down or coming up onto your tippy toes as we twist, bringing right hand to the right hip or towards the sky. Beautiful. Open out through the heart space. Twist right from the base of your spine. Now from here, we're going to transition into Cleopatra. So you're now coming onto the outside edges of both feet. As you dip the hips and point your right hand towards the back wall. Keep your left shoulder strong and stable. And bring your right hand up and over. You're going to step back into high plank, lift a leg if you'd like to, drop the knees if you need to for your optional flow. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Then from your down dog, as you inhale, left leg towards the sky. Then bring your left knee to your nose, hug it in tight. Push back, three-legged dog. Now with control, bring your left foot in between the hands. Runner's lunge, adjust the front foot if you need to, and gently bring the back knee down onto the ground. Spend a few moments here just opening out around the hips. Where are those sticky spots that you can move into? Then coming back to center. Option to keep the back knee down or to lift it up as you power up through the back leg. Option to come onto the tippy toes of your left foot as we twist. Right hand stays on the ground, left hand towards your hip or towards the sky. Breathe into the twist through the belly, open out along your spine. Then transitioning into Cleopatra, swiveling onto the outside edges of both feet as you dip your hips and point your left hand towards the back wall. Right shoulder stable. Left hand up and over, step back, optional flow, choose your variation or rest. If you're taking your flow, elbows graze the rib cage and keep your shoulders externally rotated rather than folding them forward. Now from your downward facing dog, coming up onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift and lengthen, exhale to fold. Inhale to stand, tippy toes as an option as the palms reach overhead. Heels down, hands to heart center. Knuckles of the big toes are touching as you come back to your chair pose. So you're sitting back into that imaginary chair. Now you have the option of staying where you are or point your hands directly out in front of you so your wrists are in line with your shoulders. Come down a little deeper with the hips and then come onto your tippy toes. Now can you lower your hips as far as you can for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fold forward, let it go. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, step or float the feet back for an optional vinyasa flow or rest. You're taking your flow, inhale into one movement, exhale into the next to really feel your rhythm. Then from your downward facing dog, as you inhale, right leg towards the sky. Then bring your right knee to your nose, hug it in tight. Push back into three-legged dog. Right knee to right elbow. Push back, three-legged dog. Right knee to left elbow. Push back, three-legged dog. Now open out through your hips, stack them on top of each other. This time, instead of melting the left heel down towards the ground, I want you to lift the left heel and open out through your ankle joint as you lift your right knee towards the sky. One more breath. Then square your hips, extend your right leg towards the sky. Stay really high with the left heel as you step your right foot in between the hands. Beautiful. Now start to rise up into warrior one. So spin the back heel down towards the ground and lift your hands towards the sky. Now you have the option of anchoring the right heel or exploring what it feels like to lift the right heel in your warrior. And then we're opening up into warrior two. In your warrior two, your back foot's now at 90 degrees, opening out towards the side of the room, turn your gaze over your right hand. Option to lift the right heel and come down a little deeper into the right knee. Flip and reverse your warrior. So exploring with your heel down to start with, and then seeing what it feels like to lift your heel. Engage your side body and core to make your left hand light. And then you're coming into a high Skandasana, bending through your left leg, and lifting the left heel. Beautiful. Trying to find your balance. If you need to bring the left heel down, that's absolutely fine. Then transitioning into a runner's lunge at the top of your mat, bending through the right knee, left hand down, right hand to the sky. Exploring with your heel down and seeing what it feels like to lift the right heel. Beautiful. Optional vinyasa flow. Choose your variation or rest. Taking your flow, make sure your shoulders come forward before bending your elbows so you're not dropping the shoulders back. From your downward facing dog, as you inhale, left leg towards the sky. Then bring your left knee to your nose, hug it in tight. And then push back into three-legged dog. Left knee to left elbow, hold. Push back, three-legged dog. Left knee to right elbow, hold. Push back, three-legged dog. Open up through your hips, stack them on top of each other. Instead of melting the right heel down today, can you lift your right heel towards the sky? Then start to lift your left kneecap up as well. Shoulders are level. Then keeping the right heel lifted, square your hips and come through to your runner's lunge. Adjust the front foot if you need to. Then we'll rise up into warrior one. Spin the back heel down, lift your hands towards the sky. Deep lunge. What does it feel like to lift your left heel? Bring the heel down, open up into your warrior two. What does it feel like to lift your left heel off the ground in warrior two? Can you come down a little deeper into that front knee? Heel down, flip and reverse. Left hand towards the sky, right hand trails. Maybe lifting up, left heel. Keep the bend through the front knee. Now coming into a high Skandasana, bending through the right knee. Now you can leave your right heel down or lift it. Have a little bit of a play with your balance. And then we'll transition into a twisted lunge at the front of the mat. So bending deeply through the left knee, right hand down, left hand towards the sky. Left heel down or left heel lifted. See what it feels like. Optional vinyasa flow. Choose your variation or rest. Wherever you move into, where's your breath? Then coming up onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to stand, tippy toes is there if you'd like to play. Heels down, hands to heart center. Knuckles of the big toes are touching. Inhale, Utkatasana, powerful chair pose. Now chair with air, aeroplane arms, keep the knees bent. Now you have the option of coming up into your tippy toes. Keep your drishti, your focus on one point. Keep the knees bent, so it's still a deep bend through your knees. For 3, 2, 1. Fold forward, let it go. Inhale to lift and lengthen, shoulders back. Exhale, step or float the feet back for an optional vinyasa flow. Knees on or off the ground, elbows graze the rib cage. Back bend of choice as you inhale, meeting back in downward facing dog. From your down dog, as you inhale, right leg towards the sky. And bring your right knee to your nose, hug it in. Push back, three-legged dog. Right knee to right elbow, option for arm balance, chaturanga arms. Bring the chest forward, lift the legs, push back, three-legged dog. Right knee to left elbow, twist, open that leg out, fallen triangle. Outside edge of the right foot's on the ground as you peel your left hand towards the sky. Bring your left hand down, push back, three-legged dog. Open up through your hips, stack them on top of each other. Keep your left heel lifted as high as you can as you open out through your ankle joint. From here, would you like to flip your dog? Bringing both heels down, press through the heels, lift the hips. Your left shoulder is strong, right fingertips are active. Option to come onto your tippy toes, only if it feels good. And then heels down, right hand guide you back over. Square your hips, extend the right leg towards the sky. Then stepping through, runner's lunge first. Then inhale, rise up into warrior one. Hands to the sky, lift the heel if you'd like to. Can you keep the right heel lifted as you open out into warrior two? Can you keep it lifted as you flip and reverse? Then transition into your Skandasana, option to come into your low Skandasana now. Now your left heel can be anchored or lifted, whatever feels good for you. Trying to find your balance. Then transitioning to the front of the mat, bend through your right knee, twist. Left hand down, right hand to the sky, option for right heel to be lifted. Breathe into the twist. Right hand down, optional flow is there if you'd like to take it. Choose your variation or rest. From your downward facing dog, as you inhale, left leg towards the sky. Then bring your left knee to your nose, hug it in tight. Push back, three-legged dog. Left knee to left elbow, arm balance is there, chaturanga arms, chest down, float the legs. Push back, three-legged dog. Left knee to right elbow, twist, extend that leg out for your fallen star as you peel your right hand towards the sky. Your left shoulder is strong. Right hand down, push back, three-legged dog. Open up through your hips, stack them on top of each other. Lift your right heel up nice and high today. Option 2, flip your dog. Anchoring the heels to start with, press the hips towards the sky. Do you want to try lifting the heels? Maybe one, maybe both. And then your left hand will guide you back over. Square your hips, extend the left leg towards the sky. Then step through runner's lunge first, adjust the front foot if you need to. Then rise up into your warrior one, option to lift the heel. Can you keep the left heel lifted as you open out into your warrior two? It can stay lifted as you flip and reverse. Then smoothly transition to low Skandasana, bending through your right knee, coming all the way down. Right heel can lift or be anchored. Then transition to the front of the mat, bend through the left knee, right hand down, left hand to the sky. Option to lift the left heel. Optional Vinyasa Flow is there if you'd like to take it. Where's your breath? Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Come up onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale to stand, tippy toes are welcome. Heels down as your hands come to heart center. Take a moment. Now we're going to move through the sequence again, trying to be as fluid as we can, moving with our breath, finding our rhythm. First, we'll start coming into our Utkatasana, our powerful chair pose. Chair with air, bring the arms out behind you. Option for drinking bird, so you're coming up onto your tippy toes to straighten through your legs and dip your chest forward. Really reach your hands behind you to help you with your balance. Tippy toes, legs as straight as they can be. One more breath. Inhale, rise up, hands towards the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, optional Vinyasa Flow. Choose your variation, elbows graze the ribcage. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg towards the sky. Then bring your right knee to your nose. Push back. Right knee to right elbow, option for arm balance. Float the back leg. Push back, three-legged dog. Twist. Right knee to left elbow, extend the leg out. Option 2, keep the right foot lifted as you come into your fallen triangle. Left hand down, push back, three-legged dog. Open out through the hips, keep your left heel lifted. Would you like to flip your dog? Maybe anchoring the heels, maybe lifting the heels off the ground. Right hand guides you back over. Square the hips, right leg towards the sky. Right foot in between the hands, runner's lunge. Then we rise up, warrior one, right heel can lift. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Inhale, flip and reverse your warrior. Skandasana at the back of the mat, bending deeply through your left knee. Transition to the front of the mat, twist. Right hand to the sky, right heel can be lifted. We're going to come into Cleopatra by dipping the hips, coming onto the outside edges of your feet. Then right hand comes up and over, optional Vinyasa Flow. Meeting back in down dog, rest if you need to. From your downward facing dog, as you inhale, left leg towards the sky. Then bring your left knee to your nose. Push back, three-legged dog. Left knee to left elbow, option for arm balance is there. Push back, three-legged dog. Left knee to right elbow, twist, extend the leg out, fallen triangle. You can lift the left leg if you'd like to. Bring the right hand down, push back, three-legged dog. Open up through the hips, stack them on top of each other. Bring your right heel up Flipping your dog is there. Maybe anchoring the heels, maybe coming onto your tippy toes as you extend. Then your left hand will guide you back over. Square the hips, right leg towards the sky. Step through, runner's lunge. Adjust if you need to. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Option to lift the left heel as you open out into warrior two with the heels staying lifted. Flip and reverse as you inhale. Exhale, Skandasana, back of the mat, deep bend through the right knee. Transition into your twisted lunge, front of the mat, right hand down, left hand to the sky. Option to lift the left heel and then open out into your Cleopatra, dip the hips, left hand back. Left hand up and over, step back, optional flow or rest. Listen to your body, listen to your breath. You can always take one vinyasa with knees lifted, the next vinyasa with knees down, or rest in between. Takes time to build that strength and stability in the body. And coming up onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Toe heel your feet out to hip distance. Your choice of forward fold for a few moments. Maybe you're pistol gripping the big toes or interlacing hands behind you, opening out through your shoulders. Allow your head to be heavy. Now, forward folds are calming for our central nervous system. It's your chance to just reconnect with your breath. Take a moment. Releasing your hands to the ground. Toe heel your feet in together to touch. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale to stand. Palms touch, heels lift. Heels down, hands to heart center. Beautiful. We're going to stay in standing for a few moments and we're going to explore our open eagle with the option to come down to toe stand. So you're going to activate your left leg as your standing leg and bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh and bring your right knee out to the side. And start to bend through your left knee. So you start to hinge at the hips and come forward with your chest. Now maybe your hands stay at heart center. Then maybe your elbows come towards your shin bone. Maybe you'd like to bring your hands to the ground as you bend deeply through your left knee and start to sink your hips down towards your left heel. So your left heel does start to lift. So if you are coming down to toe stand, hands to the ground, bring your hips down on top of your left heel. Then lift up through the crown of your head, hands either side of your hips. Have a little bit of a play with your balance. Maybe bringing one hand to heart center and bringing it back down. Other hand up. Maybe both hands come to heart center. Wobbles and falls are welcome. Don't take it too seriously. Just be curious and see if you can find your balance. Have a little bit of a play. Then we'll all come back to open eagle together. So hands to the ground, anchoring the left heel as you come back to your open eagle. Then coming back up to standing, bring your right knee in towards your chest and gently bring your right foot down to the ground. You can give your legs a little shake out if that feels good. Then we'll start to work towards the other side. So right leg is your standing leg. Bring your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Left knee out to the side, hands to heart center. Now you're going to bend deeply into your right knee as you hinge forward. So you're stabilizing and strengthening around your right leg as you open out through the back of the left hip. Now the option of staying in your open eagle, maybe your forearms are coming down towards your shin bone. Maybe you're able to bend deeply through your right knee, your right heel lifts as your hands come down onto the ground, coming down into toe stand. Right heel lifts, hips down onto that right heel. Hands either side of your hips to balance you. So try to just stay on your fingertips really lightly as you engage your core, lift up through the crown of your head, anchoring the hips on your heel. Maybe bringing one or both hands to heart center to have a bit of a play with your balance. Wobbles are welcome, falling out is okay. And then we'll all come back to open eagle together. So hands to the ground, lift your hips as you anchor your heel. Hands are at heart center. We all come up to standing. Left knee in towards your chest and gently bring your left foot down. You can give your legs a little bit of a shake out if that feels good. Beautiful. So feet together at the top of the mat if you're not there already. As you inhale, bring your hands towards the sky. And as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, step or float the feet back for an optional vinyasa flow. Now, this time, as you step or float the feet forward, you'll be coming into Malasana, your deep yogi squat. So in your Malasana, instead of anchoring the heels today, can you lift your heels? How does that change the position for you? Is it easier? Is it harder? Do your hands need to be on the ground? Or can they be at heart center? Holding together, lifting up through the crown of the head, anchoring through your tailbone. 3 more breaths. And bring your heels back down towards the ground. If crow is part of your practice, you can start to come into crow now. Otherwise, Malasana for a few more breaths, or if you need a break, you can come into a forward fold and then return back to your deep squat. Now, if you are taking your crow, look forward so you don't roll forward. Engage your core, pull your belly in towards your spine to help make your legs lighter. You're bending your elbows so that your knees come up right towards your armpits rather than down near your elbows. Once again, just exploring, seeing what it feels like, maybe rocking forward, lifting one foot up and rocking back. Rocking forward, lifting the other foot up and back. Maybe you can rock forward, big toes touch behind you and hold it. Get a little bit of air time. Beautiful. No matter where you are, whether you're in a forward fold Malasana or your crow, we're going to step or float the feet back for an optional flow. Otherwise, down dog is your friend for a few moments. Coming up onto the balls of the feet, bend your knees, step or float the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way to stand, palms touch, heels lift. Heels down, hands to heart center. Beautiful. As you inhale, hands to the sky, reaching up. Exhale to swan dive forward. Work with your breath. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, step or float the feet back. Elbows graze the rib cage. Find your rhythm. Now, as you inhale, right leg towards the sky. Bring your right knee to your nose, hug it in. And push back into 3-legged dog. Step through into your runner's lunge. Rise up into your warrior 1. Open out into your warrior 2. This time we're transitioning into our goddess pose. So hands to heart center. And you're going to turn towards the side of the room. Toes out, heels in, bend down into the knees. So it's a goddess squat. You're still lifting up through the crown of the head with a neutral spine. Now you have the option of staying where you are or lifting your right heel up. And lifting the left heel up. That's it, swapping from side to side, 1 more each side. And then you have the option of lifting both heels up at the same time to hold together for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Warrior 2, front of the mat, bending deeply through your right knee. Inhale, flip and reverse your warrior. Bring your hands to the ground for an optional flow. Beautiful. Where's your breath? From your downward facing dog, as you inhale, left leg towards the sky. And bring your left knee to your nose, hug it in. Push back, three-legged dog. Left foot silently in between the hands. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Goddess pose. Heels in, toes out, facing the side of the room. So you're keeping your knees tracking out in line with your toes. So make sure your knees aren't falling inwards. How does it feel to lift the right heel up? Bring it back down as you lift the left. One more each side. And then you have the option, how does it feel if you lift both heels? Can you lower the hips slightly? Holding together for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Warrior two, front of the mat, deep bend through the left knee. Inhale, flip and reverse your warrior. Flow to the ground. Vinyasa is there if you'd like to take it. Down dog or child's pose at any stage. Well done. Then from your downward facing dog, you're coming high onto the balls of your feet as you bend your knees. You're coming through to seated, so cross the feet over. Then lie down on your back. So you're preparing for bridge pose. So you're bringing in your heels in nice and close to your hips. So make sure your feet are separated rather than together, so they're in line with your hips. Keep your head and your neck still. So if you're not sure where you're going, please watch Shana first before you come into this pose. So head and neck stay still. Press down through the soles of your feet to lift your hips towards the sky. And then once you're here, option to interlace your hands underneath you, wriggling onto the outside edges of your shoulders. Now you are engaging your glutes, but the main focus is pressing down through your feet to lift your hips. Head and neck is still. How does it feel to come onto your tippy toes? Does it allow your hips to come up a little higher? Does it bring more compression through the front of the throat? Maybe breathing into that fundha. Maybe you are finding a forced ujjayi breath. Holding together, breathe. Then heels down, gently unravel for Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees to the side. Allow your spine to neutralize, allow everything to settle back down. Now we're going to come into a second round. Now you have the option of doing exactly what we did for the first round, but I'll also give you a different variation to explore with your hands. So starting with the heels in nice and close to your hips, toe heel the feet out to hip distance, then press down through the feet to lift the hips towards the sky. Now you have the option of coming into the first variation, or can you bring your hands to your lower back? So you're supporting your pelvis. So you're creating a shelf for your pelvis to sit in your hands. So you're really drawing your elbows underneath you, so wriggling your elbows in underneath you on the mat. And then you have the option of coming up onto your tippy toes. So it's similar to the shape you create when you come into a camel pose, when you're kneeling. So you're really supporting your lower back and your pelvis with your hands, finding that support. Pausing here for 3 more breaths. Now at the end of your third breath, gently unraveling back to Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Now we're going to come into a third round. We haven't done a lot of backward bending, so we won't be transitioning into full wheel, but you can do one of the first 2 variations. You also have the option, if you are taking the second variation, supporting your pelvis with your hands. I'm going to talk you through bridge into shoulder stand. But please, if you're not sure where you're going, please watch first. And please ensure that your neck is healthy and shoulder stand is a comfortable part of your practice. So pressing down through the feet, lifting the hips towards the sky. Choosing the variation with your hands. Now, if you are coming into shoulder stand, really make sure that your elbows are underneath you as much as you can, coming right up onto your tippy toes to help lift the hips. Then once you feel stable, holding onto your hips with your hands, start to bring one knee in towards your nose. And start to bring the other knee in towards your nose as well. And then extend your legs towards the sky. For your shoulder stand, start to crawl your hands further up your back to allow you to open out through the hips. Now glue your feet together. If I was at your house, I shouldn't be able to pull your feet apart. Come into your shoulder stand. Keep your focus. For 3 more breaths. And with control, we're going to transition back to our bridge pose. So bend your knees in towards your nose. Bring one foot down towards the mat. And then the other foot gently follows. Take a breath in your bridge. And then slowly release back down. Resting for a moment. Now, especially if you've come out of your shoulder stand, allowing your neck to neutralize. Allow everything to settle back down. And gently start to bring your knees in towards your chest. And opening out into happy baby for a few moments. So keep your elbows on the inside of your knees. Now, if the feet aren't within your reach, please grab your ankles. Start to draw your tailbone down towards the earth. And take your time to bring your knees back in towards your chest. Little rock from side to side. Then you have the option of rock and rolling along your spine or rolling to one side, bringing your hands to the ground for an optional vinyasa flow. We'll all meet back in downward facing dog. If you're taking your flow, choose your variation. And then from downward facing dog, as you inhale, come forward into high plank. Bend through your knees, shift the hips back. Come back to your down dog. 2 more like that, rolling dog. Round through the upper back, come forward. Bend through the knees, push back. 1 more, inhale, roll forward. Exhale, push back. This time, roll forward and hold your high plank. Now you have the option of staying where you are or both heels over towards the left. Keep both hands flat on the ground. Come back through center, dropping heels to the right. Beautiful. 2 more each side. Keep breathing. Optional vinyasa flow, otherwise down dog is your friend. Breathe. Then from your downward facing dog, as you inhale, right leg towards the sky. Bring your right knee to your nose, hug it in. Push back into three-legged dog. Open up through your hips. This time, can you keep your left leg straight as you flip your dog into wild thing? Can you keep your right heel lifted? Beautiful. Extend, reach. Then your right hand guides you back over. Square your hips, right leg towards the sky, coming through for half pigeon. Right knee behind right wrist. Square your hips, staying really tall to start with. Open out through the front of your left hip. Then start to fold forward. Come down onto your elbows or extend your arms out in front. Deep release through your right hip, finding softness. Take one more deep breath. At the end of your exhale, bring your hands back onto the mat. And push back gently into your down dog. Next, inhale, left leg towards the sky. Bring your left knee to your nose, hug it in. Push back, three-legged dog. Open up through your hips, stack them on top of each other. Can you keep your right leg straight? Come onto your tippy toes as you start to flip into wild thing. Can you keep your left heel lifted? Extend. Then your left hand guides you back over. Extend your left leg towards the sky. Come through for your half pigeon. Sit up nice and tall. Opening out through your right hip flexor to start with. And start to fold forward, either onto the elbows or extend your arms out in front. Can you find more softness through your left hip? Take one more breath. And at the end of your exhale, bring your hands back onto your mat. Take your time to press back into down dog. Optional vinyasa flow if you want a little more today. Otherwise, down dog for a few moments. Then this time, as you step or float the feet forward, cross the feet over, come back down onto your back. And hug your knees in towards your chest. Arms out to the side. If you'd like to eagle wrap right leg over left, you can. Otherwise, keep the knees together, both knees over towards your left. Starting to close the eyes down. Breathe into the twist through your belly, opening out along your spine. Next inhale brings you back through center. If you're wrapping the legs, unravel and wrap them the opposite way. Otherwise, just keep your knees together as you start to come into a twist with both knees over towards your right. Allow your legs to be heavy. And take one more breath here. And take your time to gently unravel any last movements that your body is craving before final Shavasana. Or please reach for whatever you need to make your relaxation as comfortable as it can be. You'll start to extend your arms and your legs, palms facing towards the sky as an offering. Eyes gently closed. Release your forehead. Release your jaw. Allow any leftover tension to fall away from the crown of your head, neck, shoulders, length of your arms and out through your fingertips. Your spine is heavy on the ground. As you soften through your legs, your toes fall out to the side. The only thing that's moving is your belly. As your inhale moves your belly up, and with your exhale, your belly starts to sink back down towards the earth. Can you simply follow the wave of your breath? Now you're welcome to stay in Shavasana for as long as you need to today. There's no rush. If you're ready to seal your practice, start to bring some gentle movement into your fingertips and your toes. Start to bring your knees in towards you as you roll over onto one side. And keeping your eyes closed as you gently press yourself up to a seated position and bring your hands to heart center. Just taking a moment to honor your practice, bringing both thumbs up to your third eye as we gently bow our heads and together we say Namaste.